Hi, I'm Ian Wellfeld, and I'm here to explain my data acquisition and data processing for homework 8. So, as you can see, this is an image for my first attempted scan. And you can see that pretty much nothing is visible. There's no red line visible anywhere from my laser. It looks just black. I saw that and thought it would be problematic, but I applied the HSV filters to it, and it was able to pick out a line, not perfectly. It was very imprecise and kind of like wide, and didn't really cover the whole length of the screen, but it existed, and I figured that it would be somewhat productive data to have. But I thought that I could get better data if I could actually see the laser, so I experimented in my room with several different camera settings until I could find one where the laser was visible in a somewhat dark situation, and I applied the higher exposure filter and was able to see the red line almost perfectly, very easy. And I was excited. I thought, okay, I'm gonna go out and try it again. This should be a lot easier for my HSV filter to find the red line, and I should get a much better result out of it. Unfortunately, that didn't seem to be the case. It seemed to be that the front was especially bad. First of all, I think having to do with the lights in this area over here, as well as the general lighting. I think being able to see the red line was an advantage in that I can physically see the red line, but it was a major disadvantage when it came to the HSV filter because it had a really hard time filtering out all the other excess light that was seemingly of a similar wavelength. And while here there was absolutely no noise at all, nothing is there, so any deviation from the normal black seemed to be a better solution than my second run, which was very surprising, but it is what it is. And so after plotting, this is kind of like my second data. I thought after my second run, like, okay, there's a lot of noise, maybe I can like filter it out with a MATLAB script. As you can see here, it's having trouble rotating or loading, but this is the wall in here, and that little like block area, and the rest of this is kind of like noise, like extending outward, and coming from who knows how far away. And it seemed that after trying to apply filters to try and like narrow down, this was even one of my better sides. Even after experimenting with a bunch of different HSV values for different sides, I couldn't really narrow it down at all, and the filtering process kind of left it a bit messy and too messy to work with. There wasn't much data left over after applying the filter, so I decided to stick with my original situation. And to show with the MATLAB, before I show you the final configuration, MATLAB, I basically just loaded in all the different test results from both sides, from all four sides. The front was, again, particularly bad because of the lighting. I think the sides, the right and left, were more clear. The back was also not perfect. None of them were really that perfect. And I applied a threshold to kind of like filter out, especially the front. I thought the front was particularly bad, and kind of filtered out what I wanted, and the rest I decided I was going to filter out later, because it wasn't nearly as bad as the front. And here I have kind of like I'm transforming it. I wanted to rotate it, so I changed the X for the Y values and added and subtracted things to kind of get things back into the shape that they originally were. And here we have some combined data. This is me trying to combine it all into one file, and then so that I can use it for the MeshLab. And to show the final configuration of my data, I had it up in MATLAB, but MATLAB has been struggling to load, so I'll just pull it up in MeshLab because I thought it was clearer anyway. And this is roughly what I had. You can see that it's somewhat visible of a box, but because of the fact that the HSV couldn't filter out the entire length of the laser across the box, it left the walls shorter than they should be. And I could have combined them and squished them all together, but it would have looked like a pole rather than a box. So I kind of spaced it out in the way that it seemed to have been originally. And it doesn't look terrible. You can still outline the box, but all the details that I was hoping to get, such as like the ridges in the wall of like the front and the back, and the curve part on the bottom, all were definitely lost in the process. And yeah, this is my final configuration, and obviously it's not perfect, but given the lighting and my lack of resources, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to get anything too much better. I could try again and try to improve it, but I'm not sure if I will have the time given time constraints.